Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 9 of the Rollout Show. I am your host, Weston Riddle. I'm joined by my co-host.
Hello.
Ooh, is this 92.7 the point?
This is 92.7, the point.
You're so much better at that than I am.
Thank you. I missed my true calling in being a seductive radio DJ. It's a dying industry, though, which is sad.
Yeah, it is sad because that's what I wanted to do. That's real sad. But, you have to be like the DJ on at like 11:30 on Friday nights or like 2:30 a.m. on Monday morning. This is the sweet, sensual tones of Mr. Kenneth G on that sweet, sexy sax.
Okay. That's enough. That's not even a Kenny G song.
Yeah, it is. That's
not Kenny G, my friend.
He does that song.
That's George Michael's.
That's Kenny G,
That's
bro.
a George Michael song.
Kenny G played the sax on that song. He plays that song all the time.
I don't believe that for a second.
Are you going to look it
I'm
up?
Googling this.
Oh my gosh.
Who played sax in Careless Whisper? Do you mind?
Mr.
Steve Gregory.
Kenny G.
Good job.
Kenny G plays
it
that
doesn't
song
make
all
it
the time.
his song if he plays it.
You know what?
Steve
He did a cover.
Gregory, I apologize for my co-host for being an idiot and giving Kenny G your credit.
You know what, Kenny
Disrespectful.
G? I've heard you play songs like that. You know what? I know you can kill whatever song you want to. Because you're Kenny.
That doesn't make it
G.
his song. Just because he can play something doesn't mean it's his.
I've heard him play it, though, so I assumed it was his.
I've heard Kanye sing Bohemian Rhapsody. Doesn't make it his.
Dude, any song Kanye does is Kanye's song, okay? That man is a master. He
Do you mean
it.
any song Kanye does is trash? Is that what you meant?
Dude, Kanye's gonna kill you.
Bring it.
Kanye listens to everything.
Because this is 92.7 the point. Actually, it was 97.2. Dang
97.2. Come on, dude. What are we doing here? Are we doing a podcast or what are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing. I'm looking over at my dog, hoping she doesn't bark in the window and have to edit that out. That's all I'm doing, man.
Actually, it'll probably be good because you'll probably be making a crap point whenever she barks anyway, so.
Wow.
Yeah, just speak the truth, man. Just speak the truth.
What are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to touch on a little bit of the NHL playoffs. Neither
Boring.
Bradley or I are huge NHL experts, but we'll give you our take on the NHL playoffs. And, sorry, my microphone slipped a little bit. I apologize. Got a little carried away with the Kenny G. We're also going to talk about the NBA, some different topics, get into a little playoff predictions and what we'd like to see from the NBA playoffs. Thank you, Lucy.
Pull your microphone up. Jesus Christ.
Calm down. It's okay. It's just falling. My hair's getting in the way. My gorgeous locks. It's hurting my ear. There we go.
Better?
Better? Yes.
Okay.
We're also going to talk a little NBA playoffs. That should be an exciting conversation. Talk about what we'd like to see and some different injury news as well as that. And we're also going to talk a little Mello. Because, you know what? It's not NBA basketball without talking about Carmello Anthony not being in the playoffs.
Wow.
I mean, am I wrong at this point? I mean,
No.
We're always talking about Mello and he's not in the playoffs.
He's so underachieved in his career. It's sad.
Except in his international career. That man is a 3-time Olympic champion.
Well,
but
I mean, if you're on the American team, you're going to do fine.
Yeah, that's very true.
Even though the competition is heating up a little bit now, it's still...
Like Team Croatia? Oof.
Or Team Canada. Team Canada's pretty good. Andrew Wiggins.
Embiid.
Anthony Bennett.
Hey, he was supposed to be good.
I'm pretty sure he does still play for the national team, though.
Yeah, hey, why wouldn't he?
I don't know.
He's good in that stage. Probably. At least decent. You know.
Not horrible.
Yeah.
It's like college level, right?
Hey, that was
Is that
the worst.
Disrespectful?
No, it's okay. I mean, and that was the worst draft we've had in a few years. You know, to give Anthony Bennett some credit.
I mean, he's still trash, though.
I mean, what player came out of that draft that's been really good? I mean,
Was that
Oladipo.
2014?
Yeah, Oladipo was the second pick,
Let's find out.
and then I think Nerlens Noel was whoever he ended up on the Sixers. I don't even know if he was the Sixers pick.
Keep talking. I'm looking it up.
Okay, you looking it up? Yeah, that is one of the weakest drafts we've had in recent memory. I just know talking about another point we're going to talk about is the Orlando Magic and Rob Hennigan being fired. But one of the things people have been talking about is the Magic's bad luck in the NBA lottery, because the one year they had a top pick in the draft lottery was, I believe, 2014, and it was Victor Oladipo, who was the second pick and may well have been the best player taken out of the top 5.
Keep going. You're doing great.
I'm doing great. Wow, I'm just really ad-libbing this whole thing.
Also, 2014 is not correct.
Not correct? Oh, it's 2013.
That was
then.
a very good draft, actually.
Oh, yeah, it's 2013 then. I believe it's 2013. But Oladipo, I mean, he's a good player, but I mean, he's not the kind of player you're hoping to get at the second pick in the draft, You want to get somebody who is going to be a franchise changer.
Good work.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you. I tried.
Okay. I'm going to scroll through until I find a player that's really good. Giannis Antetokounmpo, pick 15.
You know what? He was that was a steal, but he was an unknown at that point, probably.
Rudy Gobert, pick 27.
Oh, some good value late. Okay. Was that the Jokic and Nurkic draft? They were second rounders.
No.
Okay.
I mean, there's some names on here I recognize, but Nerlens Noel, CJ McCollum, pick 10.
That's a steal right there. But I mean, he had to kind of grow into that skill, though.
But I mean, the top 5 were all busts, basically. Yeah. Bennett, Oladipo, Otto Porter, Cody Zeller, Alex Len.
Yeah, I mean, Otto Porter is coming into his own now, and he's going to get a nice deal in restricted free agency, but it took him a while to get there.
It's been 4 years, and he was a
solid
top 5
contributor.
Pick. Yeah. Bust, I think, is a strong word.
But you can understand it was a weak class, because most of those guys were people that were just freak athletes that some developed and some didn't.
Well, and when the best player in your draft is pick 15, you know it's a weak draft.
Exactly. So that's a lot of the... Antetokounmpo. Did you know he had a brother? I found that out last night.
Does he play basketball?
He was on the Knicks for a little bit and was on the D-League team. His name's Giannis.
Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an even better name.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And the only reason I found that out is I was on 2K, playing NBA 2K, looking to make some trades, and I saw Giannis Antetokounmpo. I was like, this guy can't be real. So then I decided to look him up. And he's Giannis's older brother.
Wow.
And their mom, apparently what she did is she wanted them to celebrate their Nigerian heritage, so they'd have one Nigerian name and then have a Greek name since they're from Greece. So.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah. That's a solid way to do things.
Good job, Antetokounmpo family.
And he has 2 younger brothers, apparently. So I don't know where they stand, but I think they play in Europe somewhere. So
best name in basketball.
Antetokounmpo. Yeah. So, anyway, speaking of Giannis Antetokounmpo, that man, top 20 in every statistic.
And he led his team in every statistic.
It's
in all 5, in points, assists, rebounds, steals, and blocks. He led his team. That's incredible.
That man is a freak. Like, he's going to win, I think, multiple MVPs eventually in his career.
I mean, he's going to be second team All-NBA this year. And
he should be first team, but there's too much competition. There's too much competition.
He can't be first team this year.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, in other years, he would be first team. But, I mean, you just...
no.
Really?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think there would be one year in history where he would be first team All-NBA?
When LeBron retires.
Yeah.
Because right now, perpetually, there's only one open spot.
It's... Even if it's basically LeBron and Kawhi.
Yeah.
And then KD's in there.
Yeah, no, actually, you're right. And when LeBron... It's basically between LeBron, KD, and Kawhi every year. And then when LeBron retires, it'll be the KD-Kawhi award.
Depending on how KD ages, we have to factor that in.
Well, he's only 28.
Yeah, I know, but he's already had one season lost to injury, so we have to factor that in.
We'll see.
It's not it's not out of left field that somebody can age poorly.
Giannis is going to be a great star in the future, and he'll eventually climb the ladder and win an MVP and be first team All NBA. But to be second team All NBA in like your third or fourth year, it's pretty impressive.
That's really impressive considering he's younger than we are.
That is crazy.
Right? I mean, man, he's becoming one of my favorite players. I totally rock an Antetokounmpo
He's awesome
jersey.
to watch.
Oh, he is.
I hope
He's
they can
incredible.
keep building players around him.
Well, they have him locked up, which is good. That was a very smart move. He's going to get paid a lot of money, but it's going to end up becoming a market value contract.
As long as they can actually do something with it.
Yeah, their GM, I was reading an article about Executive of the Year awards, and he was getting a lot of credit. He got a couple votes, according to the different columnists who were writing, because he recognized he made a bad signing with the Plumlee signing and was able to get out of it to try to at least free a little bit of cap. And he had to take on a couple other pieces that aren't long-term pieces, but it doesn't negatively impact the future like the Plumlee contract was looking like it would.
A lot of that team's future right now kind of rides on whether Jabari Parker is going to be any good.
Right, and that's a big thing for that team to keep battling after he went down with a second ACL injury.
Yeah. They may have to move on here soon.
They might have to. He's just dynamic, but I mean, when you have the Greek Freak, you're going to get people who are going to want to come to Milwaukee and play, and also Jason Kidd definitely helps out with that too.
Oh, and he's turning into a pretty good coach.
You know, we had this conversation. I think we touched on it in another episode, but we both thought he was crazy for leaving Brooklyn when he did.
Well, I mean, think about it. That was when Brooklyn was supposed to be good, and then they ended up everyone they acquired was just too old and wasn't good anymore. That was a super team.
And since he was a legend for that franchise, I mean, and then after 1 year, that was just such a weird situation.
That whole Nets thing went from them basically being NBA favorites to the worst team in the league like that.
Very quickly, and it's not going to get better really anytime soon, except for them trying to snipe people in restricted free agency because why not? What else are they going to do?
To win in this league, you have to have a star, and they have nobody right now.
I mean, you do have Brook Lopez, but I mean, he's a really good player, but
you need a star. Brook Lopez could be the third best player on a really good NBA team.
I'm just giving Brook Lopez some credit.
I mean, he deserves some credit, but it's not like he's all NBA over there.
Well, yeah, I mean,
when's the last time he made an All-Star game? Probably a few years ago. Probably when he went to the Nets. And everyone thought he was good because he was the good Lopez brother.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta give Robin some due. He's carved out a nice little role in this league.
Oh my gosh.
He's getting paid a lot of money. But then again,
everyone's getting paid.
So is Joakim Noah. So hey.
Yeah. And Derrick Rose. Gosh, it's horrible.
Those Bulls teams just really went down to crap.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So, anyway. That was a very awkward transition. I apologize.
All of your transitions are awkward. Get with
it, man. Actually, most of them are pretty good. You have to give me credit for that. Most of them are pretty good. Anyway, so since we're on the NBA already, we want to talk about Melo?
So, Melo. Apparently, we're recording this on Saturday, April... wait. It's not even Saturday. It's Friday.
It's Friday. We usually record on Saturday.
Yeah, my bad.
The 14th.
The 14th. Good Friday.
Yes.
For all of you, that celebrate those holidays. Anyway.
Good one.
It just just came out today that Phil Jackson said that since, he got his nice new 2-year extension, that Carmello would probably be better off elsewhere. So I imagine they're going to try and trade him. Now I'm curious what you think about possible destinations he could go.
I have one in mind, but are you really surprised at this point that I think Phil did it as an FU to Melo?
I thought this was going to happen months ago.
And technically it did. Like, they just kept it quiet, and then they announced it right before Melo was going to meet with Phil Jackson as a kind of like middle finger to Melo. And Melo, even before that meeting, said, yeah, it's looking like I'm much more open to waiving my no-trade clause. The team, if they can make it work, which I think it would be appealing to Phil and the Knicks organization, because this team has a couple of bad contracts, but they're younger guys. I think Portland That would be just disgusting.
You think that Carmello would go to Portland?
Yeah. If he
Okay.
actually wants to win, why wouldn't he go to Portland?
What would they get from Portland?
They have Evan Turner. You got Alan Crabb. Because a lot of people wanted to pay Alan Crabb. He was going to go to the Nets, and then Portland had to match.
Okay, then the question is, does Lala want to go to Portland? Because a lot of this, I mean, the reason he loves New York so much is that New York lifestyle. Him and his wife love it. And if Lala doesn't want to go to Portland, they aren't going to Portland.
Honestly, think about Portland. Most of the people who have moved to
The land of
Portland,
the hipsters?
the land of the hipsters. I mean, basically, most of the people. It's kind of the joke if you ever watch Portlandia. It's pretty funny. Most of the people in Portland are actually from Brooklyn, but the hipster movement got too extreme in Brooklyn, so they moved to Portland. So it does have a lot of people from the East Coast. And it's a really nice spot. And plus, getting to team up with Lillard, McCollum, and Nurkic, I mean, I think that's a good spot for him.
I think that is an interesting place that I haven't heard before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a place he would want to go. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, none of us really do know.
I think you could definitely have that on the short list if both parties were interested. Because I definitely think it's got to be somewhere where he thinks he can win.
Which
So,
Portland is a good spot for that.
Boston, Cleveland, the Clippers. It's got to be somewhere that he would like the lifestyle. I think all three of those places could be okay, other than Cleveland. But Cleveland, you get to play with LeBron. So if you can get Lala to agree, then go for it. And then does the opposing team want Carmello? And that's when it comes into question because Boston is going to go hard after Gordon Hayward.
Yes.
All signs point to that anyway, and that's probably where Gordon Hayward's going.
Oh, you think so?
Well, I mean, it's the obvious choice.
Okay, because I think he's staying in Utah, actually.
It depends on the money. I mean, you have the Brad Stevens connection. You have the fact that Boston is really only like a small forward away, assuming Al Horford can keep it up for a few more years. And, I mean...
That's a question, but, I mean, you have to...
I think the main thing is the Brad Stevens connection. That Butler connection.
I mean, we will see because I was actually reading some stuff on this actually a couple days ago. Is Gordon Hayward talks about how much he loves Utah. I know a lot of that's just...
Well, he's in Utah right now. What do you want him to say?
I know, it's just...
You can't put any faith in those words.
He's come out and said like a few different things, how they're putting up billboards, like thanking him and everything and wanting him to stay, like billboards that say "Stayward," and he's talked about how that is going to play a factor and everything. That
he can say that all he wants. He doesn't make it true. I'm just saying, anyone in his situation puts up the lip service. Oh, I love this place. I love the fans. You guys are my home.
Yes, most of them do.
Well, yeah, most of the ones that care about their PR do. And unless you're like LeBron and you make a silly, foolish decision, and that's all in the past, and he's been forgiven.
Winning a title does that.
Cleveland, this is for you. Anyway, was that pretty good? That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I'd like to see you do it not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7 times.
You think they regret that whole thing now since they won 2? I mean, 2's pretty good in a 4-year stretch, but
you're shooting 50% right there.
It's better than most teams.
Yeah.
Anyway. What were we? Melo.
Melo, yes.
So the Clippers, I could see wanting him because they're probably going to either lose Blake Griffin or Chris Paul, so they'll have the cap space. It's just whether they want another aging superstar. If that's going to be the thing that shakes it up, and I don't think so. Maybe Miami, because Miami's playing better. But the problem with Miami is they don't have any other stars. So, I mean, Melo's going to go in there and be the guy. You have Goran Dragic and Whiteside.
And then they're probably going to re-sign James Johnson. And Pat Riley holds a lot of clout, is the only thing. I don't know if the friend group versus... the whole LeBron and D Wade versus Pat Riley thing is going to play a factor, but a lot of people will trust Pat Riley before they trust other people. I mean, he holds a lot of clout in the league.
Well, and they've turned a lot of older superstars around and let them be
And
good again.
think about how quickly they've rebuilt, because they've rebuilt a couple different times.
Well, and see, the problem with that is they haven't really rebuilt. They missed the playoffs in the East. I mean, yeah, they had an 11-30 start, but they had an 11-30 start. They aren't good yet. They are
Well,
mediocre.
they're
Even
able to find like talent later in the draft that actually works out, like Justice Winslow, Richardson, Tyler
yeah,
Johnson.
but it hasn't really worked yet. Is my point. Like the Heat had a great second half of the year. The Heat look like they're promising with some of their young guys. The Heat missed the playoffs in the East.
Well, yeah, I know, but nobody thought they were even going to get close. I mean, if you look at that roster before the season, everybody thought it was a top 5 lottery team. I mean, most people thought the Heat were going to be what the Magic were. Have one of the worst records in the league.
And a lot of that was turning Whiteside around to like taking things seriously. Whiteside was, in my opinion, the whole linchpin for that shift. Whiteside actually played like he cared the second half of the year. And he's DeAndre Jordan. I mean, he's the big guy in the middle that's going to clog up the lane, get the boards, and get the easy points. And if he's on your side, then great. And then Dion Waiters.
Dion Waiters was playing out of his
point.
mind.
It's just, if we started the season over with this Heat team, they may make the playoffs. They're probably a 7 seed, maybe a 6 seed in the East. That's not that impressive.
Well, no, it's not that impressive.
And
but
you
when
add
look
Carmello
what they
to
came
that,
from,
what do they get to? A 5 seed?
yeah.
You're still going to lose to
Well, I mean, look at
Toronto in the first round?
what Melo has in New York. He has more talent in New York, but they don't get there.
Well, they don't really have any talent anymore. They have Porzingis.
Porzingis is a great player. He's a great young star.
Porzingis came down to earth a little bit this season. He's not quite as good. I still have faith in him.
I think a lot of it was just terrible.
A lot of it is probably the
environment in New
relationship
York.
with Melo too, because he's like, do I defer or do I take over kind of thing. When it's his team and Melo gets out of there, I think he'll play better. But still, I mean, I would take Dragic or Whiteside right now over Porzingis.
I would think about Whiteside, but I would not take Dragic over Porzingis.
I mean, he's a good point guard.
A 7-footer that can shoot, stretch 4, that's very important in this league.
He hasn't shown that he's athletic enough to keep up with this league yet. We'll see. One is established, one isn't.
That's the thing. So that's why I was kind of taken
You're
aback
going
by
off
that.
potential. This is the same argument we had before about Kirk Cousins versus Jimmy Garoppolo, and we were on opposite sides.
Yeah, because I love Kirk Cousins.
Oh
I'm taking him
God.
every day of the week.
Anyway, I'm interested to see where Melo goes.
Okay.
I'm going to get off this Kirk Cousins subject before we argue again.
Because I was about to unleash
Kirk
over
Cousins
here.
sucks. Anyway.
Yeah, tell every team in the league that.
Put it on the poll. Does Kirk Cousins suck? Put it on the poll when the show's over.
Oh. Screw you. I'm doing it right now.
Do it.
I'm doing it right now.
Not on your computer, though. You type too loud.
Well, you know what? I'm doing it, and I'm going to type quietly.
Anyway, so if you see this poll pop up on Twitter, know that it happened live, and we appreciate all of you.
Yeah, we really do. I'm going to try to talk and type at the same time.
I'll keep going. Oops, I hit my microphone.
Wow, good job. What a professional.
What were we talking about? Melo.
Before you
I would love to see Melo in Cleveland, and Chris Paul is going to be a free agent. I would love to see Chris Paul in Cleveland, and Dwayne Wade has a team option. Or is it a player option?
It's a player option.
Player option. Good. Even better. I would love to see D. Wade in Cleveland. I want to see the Banana Boat crew together sipping on wine.
Mean, I would like to see that, but there's 2 issues with that.
Mm-hmm.
One, Chris Paul is the president of the Players Association. That man's not taking any kind of discount on anything. He's going to get the biggest contract possible.
2, Melo loves money. He's not taking any kind of discount.
Exactly.
The only one of those 3 I could see going is D. Wade.
And Wade is the oldest of the bunch anyway. So
I think Chris Paul would be quicker to take a discount to try and get a ring before Carmelo. I think
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
Paul
but
has at
Chris
least
Paul-
shown that he really does care about winning, even though
Yeah,
he
but
hasn't been able to do much. Melo has pretty much
Chris
shown
Paul
that
is
his
gonna-
number one priority is money.
Chris Paul's going to do that at the end of his career, though. He's 31 and he knows he can cash in again. So he's not going to take that deal now. When he's 38, he's going to take that deal.
Wouldn't it be so awesome, though, to put Kyrie at 2 and Chris Paul at 1?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No,
What do you mean, no?
I want Kyrie to be my point
Kyrie
guard.
can't play point guard. Kyrie's a 2 guard that has the best handle in the league.
Is this the Russell Westbrook discussion from 3-4
Pretty
years
much.
ago?
Kyrie
Is that where we're going with this?
Kyrie's the second best
Is
point
this
guard
like
on
the
that team right
beginning
now.
of like first take Stephen A versus Skip Bayless when they're debating on who's better, KD or Westbrook, and Westbrook should get out of KD's way? Is this what we're doing
they
here?
were sort of right. Anyway, Kyrie
That's disrespectful.
has either the best or second best handle in the league, top 2.
Best.
I think that's fair. It's either him or Steph.
Okay.
Best handle in the league. He's a great passer, great scorer, doesn't have great vision like LeBron does. And like CP3 does, for that matter. Even though you think CP3 is overrated,
I do.
He's an iconic point guard who's going to be a Hall of Famer.
No, I don't disagree with you there. I just think he's overrated. I mean, if you have that much talent and that great of a coach in LA and you don't get any further than you did when you were running the whole show in New Orleans, then are you really that great? I mean, when he was really young and first in the league, he was doing more with those New Orleans Hornet teams than he's done with the Clippers teams with so much more talent.
He is that great. Anyway, yeah, what were we saying? Banana Boat.
Banana Boat crew.
I would love to see, despite what you say, and you're an idiot, I would love to see CP3 at the 1, Kyrie at the 2, LeBron at the 3. Who else? Let's get Bosch in. Is Bosch cleared to play?
Bosch is not medically cleared to play. You just...
No, and then you get Kevin Love at the 4 and Tristan Thompson at the 5. That is quite the starting lineup.
Do you know where you can see that, Bradley?
In Cleveland?
In the All-Star game whenever Chris Paul signs with Charlotte. Okay.
Charlotte?
Why wouldn't he sign in Charlotte?
Because they have... what's his name from
Kemba
UConn?
Walker?
Kimba?
Gosh dang it, Bradley. Come on.
What?
I mean, I don't know. It's the same reasons why Steph said he wouldn't rule out Charlotte. I mean, they're both from that area, so I could definitely see them going there. I don't think it's going to happen. I just kind of said it tongue in cheek, but it wouldn't floor me to see him team up with Michael Jordan and go to Charlotte.
Do you think the Clippers are going to get rid of Blake Griffin or Chris Paul or both?
Both. I think they're going to be ousted in the first round by the Jazz. They're going to underachieve again, and then why are you going to keep paying
I actually
three guys $30 million when they're not going to improve at all?
I think they're going to get ousted in the second round by the Spurs.
Really? You think they're going to beat the Jazz?
I do.
I think you're really underrating the Jazz here.
Probably, but I mean, that's really a pick based off of just picking the experience and what I think is the better team, the more talented team.
Oh, they're one of the most talented rosters in the NBA, but they have not.
Then they'll lose in the second
round.
round. They have to lose in the second round. It's what they do every year. So.
No, they lose in the first round too. Memphis has gotten them 2 years in the first round. I'm just saying.
Your CP3 hate goes way too far.
It doesn't. I have respect for CP3. It's just I'm not gonna be
respect.
I'm not gonna be the guy that's always like, you know. I'm not going to be the guy that's... Sorry, I just got completely distracted. I'm not going to be the guy that is going to say, oh, CP3 is one of the best players in the league, so they're going to advance. It's like, this team is this team. Like, after a while, certain teams just don't achieve what they're supposed to. Just like Melo, how we have the argument that Melo is one of the best scorers in the league, but does he ever achieve anything in the postseason? No, he got to the Western Conference Finals 1 year and the Eastern Conference Finals 1 year.
To be fair to Melo, though, he's never had a team as talented as these Clippers.
Exactly.
To be fair to Melo.
Yeah,
no,
to be fair
I
to
agree
Melo.
I agree with your criticism of Chris Paul.
That's why I'm not picking them to beat the Jazz.
And you are not alone, and I would like to see that. I would love to see Gordon Hayward and Rudy Gobert pull the upset.
They're the best defensive team in basketball this season.
Yeah, but defense only gets you so far in this sport.
Defense wins championships.
Not in basketball.
Did for the Cavs last year.
No, Steph Curry going cold won the Cavs last year. And
Kyrie Irving, like,
Draymond
wetting threes in Steph Curry's eye.
I mean, the one. Let's not make this plural. He made one shot.
He didn't make one shot. He made more than one shot.
The last 2 minutes of that game was literally dribble, 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 Steph shoot, miss, dribble, 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 Kyrie shoot, miss, dribble, 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 Steph shoot, miss, dribble, 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 Kyrie shoot, make it, and dribble, 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 Steph shoot, miss. That was the last 2 minutes of the game. He made one. Let's not be crazy.
He made more than one.
Well, he made more than one shot in the game.
Thank you.
Jesus.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. He took it to Steph Curry in Game 7. You cannot deny that.
I don't even think he scored that many points or that his field goal percentage was that good.
Look it up.
Oh, my God. I will.
Look it up. Also, do you want to figure out what really distracted me?
What?
Since I posted that poll on Twitter, Aaron Hernandez was found not guilty in the double murder case.
I did. I mean, he's already serving like a life sentence for the other murder.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they actually rolled him not guilty for this one.
I'm honestly surprised he was found not guilty because I just assumed he did it. I mean,
we're not supposed to do that, but
I
know what you're saying.
Yeah. If you commit one double murder, it's not completely out of the question if you're on suspicion of another double murder that most people would kind of be like, there's a chance you did that. He dropped like 40, didn't he, in Game 7?
No. Oh my gosh. Why won't you just give me the points? What is this?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, the final score was 93-89, so it was pretty sloppy. What the heck? He played. This is great.
This
podcast.
is great podcast.
You
right
like
here.
this?
This is great. You guys.
Oh my God! I need a different website. This is
Oh
horrible.
my goodness.
Hang on, we're getting there.
Oh my goodness.
No, I don't want that one.
Let's see. LeBron scored 27.
You found it already? Oh, that's impressive.
LeBron scored 27. Kyrie played 43 minutes. He had 26 points.
Okay. I'm not going to call that domination. That's like average.
Want to compare it to what Steph had?
Go for it.
17 points.
Okay. Are you proud of yourself?
2 assists from Steph Curry.
Steph had a really bad game last year.
The only person who showed up in Game 7 is Draymond.
You are correct about that. Oh, I will absolutely agree with you. Draymond showed up.
And Sean Livingston off the bench as Iggy only got 4 points. And, oh, man.
Harrison Barnes?
Anderson Varejao? Oh, my goodness. He took it to him. He got 1 point. He made that one free throw out of his, 19 flops and foul calls he got.
Can we just move on?
Yeah, let's just move on.
This isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, we're talking old topics here. Anyway, so I'd like to see back to Melo. I'd like to see him in Portland.
God, we're still on Melo?
I guess we're still
That's
on
horrible.
Melo, man. I don't know. It'd be cool to see him in Portland, but we'll see.
I actually agree, but I don't think they would be that good still. I mean, Portland is a very underachieving team
this season, not last season.
We'll see, but I think even if you put Melo on that team, I think they might get to the 4 seed. Yeah, I'll give them the 4 seed, but they're not winning anything.
It depends. You still have to go for it because it's not like they have a super long window anyway, and injuries happen in a season and all that. So, crazier things have happened. The Grizzlies advanced to the conference finals as the 8 seed one season. So nobody gave them credit either.
Nobody likes the Grizzlies.
There are a lot of people who like the Grizzlies. Speaking of the Grizzlies, let's talk injuries for the NBA playoffs. The grindfather, Mr. First Team All Defense, hurt his calf in the last game of the season and may not play in the first round against the Spurs.
They weren't going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
They've beaten the Spurs in the past.
They weren't going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Bradley, upsets happen.
Not this year. This year, the only upset that's going to happen, possibly, is Utah. Other than that, it's going to be
And I
chalk
mean, is
all the way
Utah
through.
even an upset? Because
Technically, it is because it's the 5
technically
seed.
5
but
versus 4, but
other than that, it's going to go chalk this year. I think the top half of the and
well,
it's
except for
it's
the Eastern
interesting.
Conference Finals.
It's interesting. The league is more talented, in my opinion, than it's been maybe since the early '90s. But there's so much of a difference between the top half and the bottom half of the league now. I mean, when I and maybe this isn't true, but when's the last time you picked the first round and it was just chalk all the way through?
I mean, didn't that happen last year?
Well, last year, I'm trying to think of what the matchups were last year.
It was, I know, Toronto and Indiana, but Indiana was the 8 seed, and they took them to 7 games, but Toronto ended up pulling it out the last game.
So at least that was a good series. I mean, I think this year you may get one good series out of the whole thing. Utah and Clippers.
I do expect the I think Spurs and Grizzlies is going to be all right.
I don't. I think it'll be over in 5.
You have to give Oklahoma City credit because it's Houston and Oklahoma City.
I
in the
think
first
that
round.
will be entertaining. I think it will be over in 5. I don't think the Thunder can hang. I think it's going to be awesome. I think Westbrook and Harden are both going to average over 30 for the series. I don't think it's going to be much of a series. I don't. I think the talent level between the two is just too different. And the fact that even though James Harden has been a 2 guard his entire career, he is a better point guard than Russell Westbrook.
He's a very good point guard.
He has better vision than I think anyone would have given him credit for. He's a great point guard. And Russell Westbrook is a dynamic player.
That's a nice way of going back to saying Russell Westbrook isn't a point guard.
I mean, technically he is, if you're going to call Kyrie a point guard. He's the primary ball handler. But he's not. And this is the thing. This is what the point guard is turning into. In the truest sense of the word, the point guard is the facilitator for the team. So, in Cleveland, the point guard's LeBron.
If we're going for the old school point guard definition, then Rondo is the best point guard in the league.
Well, no, but there may have been a time. And
if we're going with the old school definition of a point guard, then Rondo is the best in the league because he has the best vision in the league.
Yeah, but Rondo can't score. And obviously you have to have a combination of the two. I understand that.
If we're just looking for assists,
I'm making an oversimplification to make my point.
Gosh. I mean, and honestly, you can get away. Kyrie is just playing to what the team is. I mean, LeBron is the best passer in the league.
He is the best passer since Magic Johnson.
I mean, exactly. So, I mean, Kyrie doesn't have to be just dropping, like, dimes over here.
What do you think would happen? And I'm going to steal from the Lebitard show. What do you think would happen if LeBron James had the same utilization rate as Russell Westbrook? Do you think he would average 40 for a season? Because I think he would.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
if he was taking 25 shots a night, he would average 40 in a season.
I mean, you've seen him do that in playoff games where he just tries to take over the.
The 2015 against the Warriors when Kyrie and Kevin Love. I think he averaged like 36 for that series.
Oh, he did, and that's what made Tristan Thompson a household name because LeBron would jack up a shot. And then Tristan Thompson would just miss horribly, but Tristan Thompson would get the offensive rebound and be able to either get the putback or just dish it back out to LeBron.
Hey, don't forget about Timothy Mozgov.
Hey, Mozgov played well in that series.
That series earned him a contract.
They loved that man in Cleveland. I mean, you saw that by them mobbing him when he came back with the Lakers.
I bet they wish they had him this year because they basically tried to get him with Bogut and then he got hurt. So same type of player.
This is the same type of player, but I mean, you can't pay everyone.
Oh yeah, I understand that.
I mean, but hey, if he wants to take a discounted contract next time around, I'm sure they'll welcome him back in Cleveland with open arms.
I mean, they need a true center for their second unit, and that would do it.
Yeah, it'd be perfect on that team.
Who?
Bismack Biyombo.
Oh. Yeah, he would. I mean, he's the right kind of style, but it's not like they're going to trade for him or anything.
No, they're not going to trade for him.
No. Anyway, are there any matchups in the East you think are interesting?
In the East?
I think it is a travesty that the Heat didn't make it
It
because
really is.
even though
You just crap
I
talked
crap
them,
talked, and I wasn't really crap talking them,
but
but
they
I
should have
sort
been
of
in the
was.
playoffs.
They were playing so well right now. I would have loved to have seen them against the Celtics or the Wizards or something, or the Raptors. I think it would have just made an interesting matchup because the top 4 East teams in the East are so much better than the bottom 4. It's
Well,
going to be a bunch of sweeps in 5-game series.
well, speaking of that, the one that really interests me is Toronto and Milwaukee.
That is the only interesting one, and I still think it's going to be at most a 6-game series because Giannis can't do it all on his own.
Giannis can't do it all on his own, but I think they're going to, because Toronto didn't necessarily look that great last season, and they've had 4 games of Kyle Lowry and Ibaka together, and the first 2 of those didn't necessarily look
the
that
chemistry, I'm sure, is going to be off, but I just think the pure talent of Lowry, DeRozan, and Ibaka is going to be too much for a base. I mean, the Bucks. What do they have right now? They have Giannis.
They have Giannis, John Henson, Greg Monroe.
They have Giannis. That's what
Hey,
I said.
Malcolm Brogdon should
Yeah.
be Rookie of the Year.
Greg Monroe's turned into a complete flop in Milwaukee.
You would think that, but the second half of the year when they put him on the second unit, he's been really, really good.
His game doesn't match this league.
He
would have been great a
anymore.
decade ago.
Oh, he would have been great a decade ago, but he's kind of salvaged a little bit of his career.
But it's
right
a lot
now.
of the same thing as Andre Drummond, right? Last year, Andre Drummond was this huge physical beast.
Well, and also he was so young, so everybody wanted to pay him max.
Because you assumed he would keep developing, and now you see what he is. He is the center of a decade ago. If you don't have the feet to move around, you don't even have to shoot. You just have to be. You can be Rudy Gobert. You just have to be athletic and have quick feet, and that's. I mean, Greg Monroe and Drummond don't. They're sort of plodding towers out there.
Well, that's the thing. That's what makes Greg Monroe useful on the second unit. Because
but they're not. They didn't pay him for him to be on the second unit,
right? I mean, but
Greg Monroe was being attracted by the Lakers and stuff that year. I mean, a lot of teams wanted him, and he picked Milwaukee to go play with some of the younger guys. I think at the time it was like Michael Carter Williams and stuff.
Yeah, it was Michael Carter Williams. Fear the Deer,
and Greek Freak was just coming up, but you can't be. You have to be Karl Anthony Towns. You have to be Boogie Cousins, Anthony Davis. You have to have quick feet. You have to have some range at least, and you have to have great athleticism.
Yeah.
And even though they are great athletes, they're not quick enough.
The DeAndre Jordans and like the Greg Monroes, Andre Drummonds are starting to fade away.
Yep, quickly. I mean, they already got rid of centers in the All-Star game because that line between forward and center is already blurring. Like Anthony Davis, is he a forward or a center?
It depends on what lineup
you're going to call him a 7-1 power forward? I mean, that's my point. Like, as the line blurs, the one that gets kicked out is the old style center. And that's just how it is.
Speaking of Boogie Cousins and other things that happened in the news this week, it's a pretty NBA heavy show, but the Magic...
I mean, the playoffs are starting.
Yeah, the
what do you
playoffs
expect?
are starting. That's true.
When the NFL starts back up, it'll be like 80% NFL.
And I mean, baseball is so early in the season.
We'll talk about baseball in October.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about it more often than October.
Hopefully,
but
we'll have
we're
wanting to have a baseball special here soon. We'll see if we can get that worked out. We just have to find another co-host because I am not the appropriate man for that show.
We got one lined up, and he's a listener. You know who you are. We love you. Oh, nice. Right on the same page with that one. Anyway, we'll talk baseball when there's more baseball topics to talk about. But as of right now, we're still early on in the season, so there's not a whole lot going on. But anyway, the Magic have moved on from Rob Hennigan, the youngest GM in the history of the NBA.
Good riddance.
Yes, I do think it wasn't all his fault, and he tried to salvage it this year. The whole Scott Skiles hiring and then the trades for veterans that Scott Skiles liked, and then when Skiles resigned, there was no reason to even have those veterans.
He lost his job because of the Ibaka deal. There was no reason to get Ibaka.
Otherwise, he made the Ibaka deal to try to save his job because, I mean, he knew he was going to get fired if they didn't have any kind of improvement this year. So I will give him credit. At least he took a shot, and at least he didn't hold on to Ibaka and let him get to free agency, because that would have really hindered the franchise even more.
Yes, I agree with that. But I also agree that they would much rather have Oladipo right now.
Probably, I'll agree with you on that one, but at least he was able to salvage it. But the curious thing to me is the report that came out. One of the Magic assistant GMs also got fired. I believe his name was Perry. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Good work.
Thank you. But the curious thing I wanted to bring up is the assistant GM who got fired was kind of the dissenting opinion and kind of a different style guy from Hennigan and tried to keep Hennigan in check. He had a deal worked out for Boogie Cousins, and Hennigan turned it down.
Do you know what the deal was?
Don't have any reports on what the deal was, but that's curious to think of because I can't assume it was better than what the Pelicans offered because Devot said that we had a better deal from the Pelicans and that was like the best deal we had. So
Well, I think that was partially just because he loved Buddy Hield so much. Like
Well,
he
that was part
valued
of it.
Buddy Hield so highly that I mean a good draft pick wouldn't pay for it.
I think it could have been that Raptors pick and a different younger piece. I don't know how. I mean, because
Who are you
There's
going to
some younger
trade
people.
though? Alfred Payton and the Raptors pick?
Alfred Payton, the Raptors pick. I don't know what the deal was, but I mean, I can't assume it was that huge because they didn't get a lot from the Pelicans either.
No, they didn't.
I mean, it could have been Fournier and Biombo, could have been Vucevic. I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. I doubt it was Aaron Gordon.
I don't think anybody really cares about the Magic, man.
I mean, I think there's some people that care about the Magic Man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Magic Man still does some stuff, right?
Magic Man.
Magic Man. All right. Anyway, let's touch on the NHL playoffs that Bradley doesn't care about, but I'm at
Good
least
luck.
following along.
I'll be leaning back in my chair.
You'll be leaning back in your chair. Thank you.
I'll be preparing for Florida Man.
Okay. Yeah, you prepare for.
I have a
Florida
good
Man.
story for you.
Awesome, because I don't have one today. Anyway, the NHL playoffs are starting. So in the Western Conference, we have the Ducks, who are the 1 seed, versus the Flames, who are the first wild card team. We have the Oilers and the Sharks, 2 versus 3. You have the Blackhawks, who are the other 1 seed, versus the Predators, who are the second wild card. And we have the Wild versus the Blues. Now, that is a very interesting matchup because the Blues head coach, who took over halfway through the season, Mike Yeo, was the head coach of the Wild, but got fired last season when the Wild were underachieving, and the new coach sparked them to, get to the playoffs. Solid drop in.
Thank you.
But the Blues did a similar thing with Mike Yeo, and it sparked them to actually get into the playoffs. So the Blues, we lead 1-0 in the series, and the first game went to overtime. And Jake Allen had like 40 saves, which is ridiculous. He had a great game, and in this series, I'm predicting the Blues to pull it out. There's just so much on the line and so much motivation from Mike Yeo's perspective that I think the Blues are going to pull it out. Then we have the Blackhawks versus the Predators. The Predators lead the series 1-0. I would love to pick the Predators, but it's hard to pick against the Blackhawks, even if it pains me to pick the Blackhawks. I'm expecting them to
Chicago.
solid drop in. I'm predicting Chicago to move on and be another rematch of the Blues versus the Blackhawks, which is always a great series to watch. Some very competitive hockey there. A lot of animosity between the two cities. Then we have the Oilers and the Sharks. The Sharks just have so much playoff experience against the Oilers. Great young team. They're going to dominate for years to come. I just think it's their first postseason experience. Connor McDavid. And I think Joe Thornton and the boys just have so much experience after last season. They finally got there. They got to the Stanley Cup Finals, but couldn't pull it out. So I think they're really motivated, and I think the Sharks are going to end up taking that one. Then we have the Ducks versus the Flames. I love Troy Brouwer. I love Brian Elliott on the Flames, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them to advance past the Ducks. The Ducks have looked very, very well all season long, so I think the Ducks are going to pull that one out.
Go, go, Power Rangers.
I think that's trademark, dude.
Meh.
Yeah, well.
Nobody listens to this anyway.
You're right about that. Anyway, and in the Eastern Conference, we have the Canadiens versus the Rangers, the Senators versus the Bruins, Capitals versus the Maple Leafs, and the Penguins versus the Blue Jackets. Now, the Blue Jackets had a great season this year, had a huge winning streak early on, but they're going up against the defending champions, and as much as it pains me to say that, Penguins are going to take this one in advance. Penguins lead the series 1-0 right now, and I think they're going to I think the Blue Jackets are going to give them a fight, John Tortorella and those boys, but unfortunately for them, Penguins are going to advance. Then we have the Capitals versus the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs are very, very similar to the Oilers. Really young team, and it was great to see them make the playoffs. Austin Matthews and those boys, but Mike Babcock, he's doing a great job. Most people didn't expect him to turn around by this point, but the Capitals, they're too strong.
You're doing a great job of talking without knowing what you're talking about.
Hey, I know a little what I'm talking about.
Aren't the Houston Oilers an old football team?
It's the Edmonton Oilers, dude.
But the Houston Oilers.
Yes, they're the Tennessee
The
Titans.
Texans?
The
No.
Tennessee Titans.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Texans are an expansion team.
My bad.
Yeah, you're bad. Anyway, Maple Leafs got there much sooner than people expected, but the Capitals, I know they haven't had the best playoff success the past few years, but Ovechkin, Shattenkirk, TJ Oshie.
Ovechkin.
That's right, you know one player.
I know Sidney Crosby too, and then some like 18-year-old who led the league in scoring. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Connor McDavid.
God, I'm good.
On the Houston Oilers, as you say. It's the Edmonton Oilers. Anyway, but the Capitals are going to pull it out and beat the Maple Leafs in advance. It's going to be Penguins and Capitals again. And then we have the Senators versus the Bruins. The Bruins made a coaching change halfway through the year, fired Claude Julien, their longtime head coach. But I believe the Senators are going to pull this one out. The Bruins lead 1-0 right now. I think this is going to be a long series, but David Backes and those guys, I just don't see them pulling it out. I think age is creeping up on them, so I'm picking the Senators in this one. Then we have the Canadiens versus the Rangers. Premier matchup. Henrik Lundqvist versus now Claude Julien and the Canadiens back in Montreal. And I think the Canadiens, the 1 seed, they are going to advance. The Rangers lead the series 1-0 right now, but I think the Canadiens are too tough, and I think the Habs are going to pull it out. So then we have a matchup of the Senators versus the Canadiens in the second round. I think the Canadiens, yet again, are going to win that one and advance to the conference finals versus the Penguins and the Capitals. Now I'm going out on a limb here. I think this is the year the Capitals get over the hump. They're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm picking them. This is a different Capitals team. They're all in this year. The Capitals are going to pull it out.
Wrong.
Thanks, Bradley. Do you even know who the Capitals would be playing in this situation?
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
Dang, you called me on my crap.
Is that a pretty lucky guess?
I think it was a pretty lucky guess, but yes. They'd be
Sidney
playing
Crosby?
the defending champs. Sidney Crosby, Malkin. Dude,
Yeah, Sidney Crosby.
sweet. Good job. Anyway, so the conference finals would be the Capitals versus the Canadiens. And I will also pick the Capitals in that matchup. I think the Capitals are actually going to get to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wrong.
You know what? Sometimes teams get
Never
over
pick
the
against
hump.
Canada.
Sometimes teams get over the hump, Bradley.
Oh, Canada.
Whatever. Anyway, we have in the Western Conference second round, we'd have the Blues versus the Blackhawks. And you know what? I'm going out on a limb and I'm picking the St. Louis Blues.
I mean, why not? Because you already didn't pick them to go all the way. Spoiler alert.
Whatever. I'm picking the St. Louis Blues to beat the Blackhawks yet again, 2 years in a row. I don't have a lot of analysis based on that pick. I'm just going
Bias.
with gut. Gut and a little bias.
Bias.
It's gut and a lot of bias. That's what I'm going with that pick. It's a lot of heart there. I apologize for that one. Sometimes your heart plays a factor, and my heart's playing a factor. I'm thinking the Blues are going to get there on this magical run that nobody thought they'd be on.
Wrong.
Whatever. And then in the second round, we have the Sharks versus the Ducks, and I'm picking the Sharks. I think playoff tested, and I think the Ducks have been playing well all year, but I think the Sharks just have a lot accomplished this year, and I think they're going to get there. So we'd have Sharks and Blues in the conference finals. It'd be the matchup of the 3 seeds, which most people would not expect. You have something to add? Going
No,
up to the microphone?
just I was gonna say wrong, but it felt wrong, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna back away now.
felt wrong. Whatever. Anyway, so the conference finals would be the San Jose Sharks versus the St. Louis Blues, and I will pick with my head this time and say that the Sharks will advance to the conference finals. Advance from the conference finals to the Stanley Cup finals, and it will be the Capitals versus the San Jose Sharks, with Ovechkin finally winning the chip. I think Ovechkin's finally going to win the Stanley Cup finals. I'm picking the Capitals to go all the way this season. I believe I picked them last year as well and was wrong, but sometimes you just have to keep picking people, right?
Wrong.
They're the Nova of the NHL. One of these years they're going to get there.
Or Gonzaga. So close.
So close. Anyway, so that wraps up our NHL discussion, which is mainly more of me ranting and just one pick based off of heart and the other picks based off of the analysis that I know.
Are we ready for our showcase of the evening?
I think we're ready for what everybody's been waiting for.
Florida man!
Florida man! Alright.
Okay, I got a story for you.
Go for it.
So I was telling you about this earlier, and oops, I hit my microphone, and and couldn't find it. Well, I found it. This happened in Tampa.
Okay.
Okay, a 32-year-old Tampa local
City by
suffered
the Bay.
extensive injuries to his lower body.
Ooh.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Hey.
You know where you're talking about.
I know where you're talking about.
After an unconventional attempt to fill a scuba tank with weed and smoke it.
Oh, that's Florida right there.
He had the great idea to fill his tank with weed smoke and then use the air compressor to suck it in. Okay?
Oh, goodness.
He contacted all of his friends and told them he had finally perfected his scuba bong.
Oh, my gosh.
When his friends assembled at his residence, they found him heavily intoxicated. He'd had a number of drinks before they arrived, and he was pretty lit.
Pretty lit.
Okay. This is when everything went horribly wrong.
Oh, no.
Mr. Winters was attempting to reattach the air compressor when he stumbled, knocking the scuba tank off of a workbench and onto the concrete floor. Then the tank exploded.
Oh, gosh. Shocker with that one.
None of the friends were injured, but the blast from the ruptured tank sent shrapnel flying directly into his lower body.
We all know what that means.
Then he went to the hospital. Apparently, this was a scuba tank that has been outlawed because it's made with some kind of high-risk aluminum.
Oh, that sounds safe.
But, yeah, he lost his testicles. Florida man!
I don't even think we need to close the show. I think we just need to end it with he lost his testicles. Just somebody's going to tune in, and it's going to somehow drift all the way to the end of the show, and then somebody's going to hear, like, they're going to have this whole show zoned out, and then you're going to hear, and he lost his testicles, and then click.
I mean, he did, though. He lost his testicles. His scuba bong exploded.
That's why you don't use a scuba bong.
Especially with a tank that's been outlawed for like a decade. Okay.
He's lucky he didn't die when he was diving.
Yeah. I don't think he ever dove with it, though.
Oh.
I think he bought this tank specifically to smoke out of it.
Or it was just something he found in the garage, after he took the scuba class.
No, he bought it. He bought it from a local dive shop, yeah.
Oh, is that dive shop going to get in trouble now?
No, because the regulations only matter if it's used in the water. So he can't sue them or anything.
Oh my gosh.
Whoops.
He's going to try to find a way to have some kind of lawsuit, though. I have to imagine.
He can try.
That dive shop dodged a scuba tank, if you know what I'm talking about.
Right on the balls.
Right on the gonads.
All right. Let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up. That's been the best segment of the day. Florida Man.
Florida Man never disappoints.
Florida Man never
Florida
disappoints.
Man!
And if you have one lesson to learn from this show, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, don't use a scuba tank as a bong. Don't do it.
Don't do it, kids.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Just say no.
Just say no. Tony Dungy would not approve. He would not approve.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. This has been episode 9 of the Rollout Show. We appreciate you listening every week. And stick around. We'll have more episodes coming along the way. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Rollout Show. And we're going to start getting more into other forms of social media. So be sure to interact with us. And stay tuned for episode 10. Rollout. Worse every week.